I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video, we're going to be finding out what's next in love. As per usual, I love to keep this very open-ended, so this is a combination of romantic love with another partner, as well as self-love, because it really is a process, both obtaining it, I don't want to describe it as holding on to it, enjoying it, and continuing to go deeper. That's the biggest thing I've learned throughout my own personal journey with love, is that because there's so many different forms of it, you can always sort of re-fall in love with love. I didn't mean to sound corny there, but I'm just gonna go with it. It's just something I'm very passionate about, and I'm very excited to see what's in store for you personally, and talk about if there's anything we can help either move it along faster, or unblock you, or figure out something that maybe was right in front of your face and you just weren't aware of it at the time, in order to make everything that much easier, wonderful. And I'm just looking for positivity and good vibes, you know? So as you can see, we have 4 groups in front of us. Group number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group that you resonate with most. Now that you have, you can go down to the description where you can go to your designated group. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out what's next in love by looking at the cards. We've got 9 of Wands in reverse, Page of Swords in reverse, 10 of Wands upright, 2 of Pentacles upright, 4 of Wands in reverse, and Queen of Cups upright. Give me just a moment or two to look at everything, because I'm picking up a bunch of information. I just want to make sure I got everything before I go over it. Okay. Okay. Let's get into this. This is a lot. Okay, so over here we have a lot about self-love and self-care. And then over here, we have both something going on for if you are in a relationship and something going on if you are looking for one. So let's talk about how the most predominant thing being spoken about here is being, loving to yourself. Do you like who you are? Treating yourself well, just in general treating yourself. So first we're going to talk about how you were kind of trying to do that and kind of sort of misperceiving how to do that with the interaction going on over here with the 10 of Wands upright and the 2 of Pentacles upright. This is both being shown here as well as being confirmed by my spirit guides that right now you're sort of defining your self-worth by how much can you accomplish. Look at all the things that you can do. Look at it, almost like writing out a resume of yourself as a person. I'm this, I'm that, I do this, I do that. And the more you take on, the more you feel good about yourself, especially because compliments to you, you're handling it so well. But this is sort of I don't want to say this in I don't want to offend, but this is not a way of loving yourself right now. You are just kind of adding too much on your plate. You are not defined by what you do and what you can take care of, and it's sort of a way of distracting yourself. The good news is, my spirit guide says, right now is actually a fantastic time to kind of put some responsibilities back in other people's hands, take more of a break, lighten your load, do whatever you got to do. It's actually a really convenient time for you. And there's a question you should consider asking yourself. Now, this might be a little too forward, so I apologize if this is too much to hear, but you should consider asking yourself, why can't I be alone and not have as much to do? Why do I think I'm not worth enough unless I have am able to rattle off this list of things I'm accomplishing to other people? What's preventing me from just sitting and being comfortable with that sort of free time, and seeing that at the end of the day, the things that, you accomplish or you say that you've done don't make you any more special than if you're just sitting there being by yourself. Because a lot of people, and this is just so normal, I feel like we spend our lifetimes realizing we were always good enough. We were always good enough, we were always special enough, we were always worth it. You don't need to do more to be more deserving of it. And in fact, you're kind of creating sort of a line, a kind of concept where you're like, well, when I get here, it will be enough. Well, if you're always kind of extending that line and chasing after it, when will you ever cross it? When will you finally sit down and go, you know what? Not to be redundant, I think I have done enough. I think I'm going to lighten my load. Apparently right now is a great time to lighten your load so you can relax and take some time off, give yourself a break. Yes, you do handle this so well, but consider being self-reflective as to saying to yourself, at the end of the day, do you feel like it's fulfilling you in the way you're hoping for? Or are you on autopilot and not even asking that question? Are you happy or are you just busy? So this is a good time to kind of clear off some room. Basically, you're being given permission by the universe of like, now's a convenient time to take a little more of a break, relax, get to know yourself, realize how great you are. Yeah, you can be busy again if you want, but you don't have to. Find out why are you busy in the first place in order to kind of work smarter, not harder. Or maybe you are someone that likes to be busy, and then when you go back to being busy, you can really enjoy the process that much more because you've better understood yourself. You understand and catch the drift. Understand this is a way that you think you're giving yourself love, but you're sort of redefining, you're viewing it in sort of a twisted way. I don't want to put it that way because I don't want to offend. Carrying on though, we get actually very specific going on over here with the Queen of Cups upright and the Four of Wands. So my spirit guide specifically says with the Queen of Cups over here, now is a good time to have a self-care day where you interact with water. This can be anything from a beautiful, lovely bath to, sometimes people get like a big bowl and you put your feet in it, like hot water, and you just kind of hang out, watch some TV and do that. Whatever, floats your boat, so to speak, you're going to be choosing to do this. The reason why this specifically is, now this is going to sound, it depends on how open you are when listening to this, but the way we interact with the world is it's filled with purpose. You do things subconsciously and they affect you at other times and feel more significant. Another time it doesn't mean anything at all. But everything has a meaning. Everything that you're choosing to do, take care of yourself, interact, is for a reason, as we talked about over here. So water, fun fact, to put it very loosely, when I go to the Akashic Records, it talks about the idea of water representing this idea of like deep spiritual knowledge and wisdom. Think of it as like being really connected to your higher self. Running water is very much connected to the idea of evolution and constant evolution. Like you're constantly seeing how you can become a better version of yourself the next day. And wow, that is, I don't know if you can hear that coming through, but that is a loud plane. And the next day and the next day. But with it being running water, it's the idea of being evolutionary without getting so lost in the future thinking. It's like being very present, but in each present moment, asking yourself, how can I understand more? How can I accept more? How can I be more open? How can I be more loving to myself, to others? You get what I'm saying? It's like an overarching idea. So the interaction with water is you sort of interacting with this beautiful sense of wisdom, connection to yourself, to your higher self, in both a physical metaphor and a philosophical one simultaneously. My spirit guide says the way you choose to interact with the water will really say a lot and help you understand how you perceive being an open person. There is no wrong answer or anything you need to overly judge yourself for. Not at all. There's no competition here or a better way of doing it. Think of it more as, so if water is this all-encompassing knowledge and great wisdom and intuition, we're kind of loosely defining it as, just to make the point, if you plunged into a bath full-heartedly. You're sort of letting yourself fully be consumed by it. You're totally open. You're ready. You're open. You're good to go. And that's where you're at. And that's great. That's wonderful. And there's nothing wrong with, but something to look over when you're like, well, I'm someone that needs to put my feet in one foot at a time. I need a second to process the information before I go deeper. That's not wrong at all. In fact, you can be reflective and go, maybe that's the way I like to interact with things going forward. With people, maybe I don't want to put myself fully out there. Maybe I want to take a second and share a little bit of myself, see how they feel, then share a little bit more of myself, and then so on and so forth. Compared to someone who's like the first night that's like, let me tell you all my hopes and fears and joys, and there's no wrong or necessarily oh my goodness, I apologize if you can hear it, very, very, very loud playing. The point is, there is no wrong way of doing this, but once you understand how you function and how much more open you are than you were aware of, or how you work in a different way, you can then, moving forward, learn and interact with people better. It integrates in all aspects of your life and will make the process of you living life that much more comfortable and feel like, yeah, this is how I work. This is what works for me. Yeah. And you can feel more confident understanding who you are. Now, the main reason why this is happening is going on over here in the Four of Wands in reverse. So we're specifically referring to the wands, which is fire, and looking at it in a transformative element. That's what it is. It's something that can transform, as from getting a small little spark to a big open flame, to when you burn something, it will go from solid to ash. You see what I'm saying here? It's a very transformative element. And right now, there's a transformation that needs to be readdressed and reignited. Sort of, you could view it as like reigniting your passion, but it's specifically around the space that you spend the most time in. So most likely this is a home situation. And wherever this is, I would highly recommend in the place you spend the most time in. So maybe it's a particular room, it could be a living room, it could be a bedroom, whatever. In that area, it's getting kind of dingy energy. It's very possible. I'm not necessarily picking up specific energies to say you're feeling more tired, but it's more of a feeling of lack of inspiration. You're not feeling as motivated. Again, not sluggish in feeling, just more like nothing's really getting you that excited about life. And in order to get excited in that energy, we talked about this sort of combining of getting reconnected to yourself through the element of water, and we understand what that element of water means, so we're bringing the inspiration through reconnecting with this sense of higher self and wisdom and an evolutionary perspective, and getting back in that space to reignite the energy that's just kind of off right now. And by reigniting not only yourself and the energy, you bring yourself back into a space where, again, you're just reigniting it by simply doing this. It's just going to inspire the space with your own energy you're putting out there naturally. It causes a wonderful looping effect where it's like, then you feel, now that you've inspired the energy in the room again, that energy then continues to inspire you, and so on and so on and so forth. And we can get some beautiful momentum going, because self-love is being expressed through inspiration this way. You were meant to clearly create and understand and feel excited, and this is how you're going to kind of show yourself how much you matter to you. You're worth it. You are worth living a life worth living. Now over here, this is for both a combination of people who are with somebody else, and then we will go over if you are wanting to meet someone else. Specifically, I am seeing with the Page of Swords in reverse, it appears we have a partner. Let me just ask real quickly if this is like a future thing. Okay, some of you it's a future thing, but the majority of you, it's currently going on right now. This is for a partner who just kind of is sort of closed off. With it being a page, they really do need to be much more open with what's on their mind. It's interesting. Even though it's a sword situation, I'm getting a lot of emotions behind it. It's not them so much sharing their feelings. There's probably feelings motivating around it. That's why I'm feeling the heavy emotional tie, but it's more their perspective. It's like often sometimes people's perspective and mindset can cause a lot of emotional upset, both for them or the information they're shared with someone else. So just keep that in mind. But there is something that they're just closed off. They're just not willing to share. They're not letting you know what they're thinking and feeling. And interestingly enough, with it being a page, now is the time for them to sort of get over their own their own stuff and start to be willing to open up. When we have a page situation, this is a student. So this means somebody who's, they're definitely making mistakes because they're figuring stuff out. So this sort of closed off, this closed off vibe you're getting is because they're figuring stuff out. They're going, I don't want to say the mistake, but the sort of trial or error they're going through right now is by being like, I don't know how to explain myself, or I don't know how they'll take this information. So I'm just going to not say anything right now while I sort it out in my head. And then slowly they're learning by like sharing it, then refiguring out how's a better way to share it, then moving forward with that information. They're just like kind of going through a learning process. So definitely consider being patient with them. It's new for them. It's new. Keep in mind, let me just ask real quickly, is this like a big secret or something like that? Nope, not at all. Okay, good. This is not like a big secret. It's just like you feel like there's something on their mind and they're just not really expressing themselves. It's less important what they're going to express to you, so you're not going to so much more be affected by that. You're more just picking up on being like, yeah, they just really don't talk as much as I'd love them to, and so on and so forth. Now here's where the beautiful part comes in. With the Nine of Wands in reverse, I'm being told by both the card and my spirit guide that this will just sort of work itself out because they are in this stage, and because of the specifically Nine of Wands being our telling card. They're just going to kind of figure out what, they're going to realize what they're doing wrong. It's going to work themselves out. You have to be patient though and let it do its thing. And the reason why it's important we point out that the Nine of Wands is in reverse rather than upright is when it's in reverse, this is when it's basically saying, hey, the universe is it's all going to work out. You're almost there. You're almost at the finish line of this being resolved. You just kind of have to step out of the way and let the rest of the natural way the universe is going to work out and the way the person is going to, sort through these concepts and emotions all on their own, give them some space, whatever. And you just got to stay out of the way and not get involved, but trust in the process. When it's in reverse, there is definitely a desire on your end to be like, I want to corner them. I want to talk about it. I'm tired of waiting. I'm sick of this. What's going on? Do the best you can to take a deep breath. Say to yourself in the universe, I trust this is all going to work out in my favor, in our favor as a couple. You're going to give yourself a second, and then you're not going to have any attitude. You're not going to feel frustrated. You're just going to be like, you know what? They're learning. You're going to breathe, and then you're going to treat yourself. You're going to just have no wonder the self-care was so predominant here. You're just going to be good. Oh, that's probably why you're so busy. You're trying to distract yourself. Oh, wow. Well, that got sorted. I realize that now. So the point is, you want to slow down, breathe, have a good time. Just treat yourself, not being closed off to the other person if they want to join you. But don't worry about, if like, I don't know what situation you got going here, but like, not to be like cliche, but like, let's say you're making them some food. Just lovingly be like, hey, I just made food for myself. It's nothing personal, or I left you some food out, but I was hungry now. Just go about living your life. Talk to them. Don't close them out, but go about living your best life and basically kind of make it clear to them, hey, the door's open. If you want to chat, I'm here for you when you do eventually sort things out. But I love you. I'm not going to just wait around in emotional torment. I'm going to just live my life happily. No passive aggression towards you. We're still cool. But I see you're sorting some stuff out. I get it. I'm giving you your space. And it will all work itself out, and they're going to come to you and everything's good. Now, for single people, it appears the person, and there is somebody, I'm reading this correctly, right? I'm just asking my spirit guides. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. They said basically, and I got confirmation, that there is somebody, but right now, just like if you were just listening to the relationship with the people who are in one, they just are not in a good place to be able to approach you. They just cannot express themselves well. They have got some stuff on their mind they're trying to sort out. It potentially can do with maybe not having the best self-love and self-care for their own self. They're not able to really kind of connect to how they want to see themselves, express themselves. This is not the best time. They're not really open to approaching you, open to even being approached, and just understand that it will sort itself out, but it's not going to happen right away this very second. So just give it a moment, be patient, give it a little bit of time, a couple weeks, give them some space, but don't take it personally if you feel like they're not approaching you, or maybe they stopped talking to you and you're like, what's going on? Just give them some space. They're sorting some personal stuff out. You just have to understand it has nothing to do with you. It's not personal. And if you're like, well, aren't I special enough? It has nothing to do with if you're special enough. They're going through their own life lesson. And thankfully, you don't have to take the brunt of any of the figuring it out. Because sometimes when people are figuring stuff out, it is a messy process. And people don't want to be kind of caught in the crossfire, so to speak. So it's going to work itself out. Same concept with the other situation we're talking about. Just leave it alone. Give it some space. I know there's some temptation to reach out to them. Give them space. It will all work itself out and they will come back to you. But for now, just understand it's not personal and just kind of go enjoy yourself for the time being. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. I am just wishing you the best, sincerely. Please let me know. Are you going to take a bath? Are you going to go swimming in a pool? Are you going to go get a bowl and put your feet in it? What's your vibe? How are you going to give yourself some self-care? And how are you going to lighten your load immediately? Who are you going to call up to take back their responsibilities that they should be taking care of? And just kind of less is more. Also, please, if as well as putting that in the comments, please also leave this video a like and a subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It helps out like you would not believe. I am wishing you the best. I will see you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2, let's find out what is next in love by looking at the cards. We have the High Priestess in reverse, 9 of Swords in reverse, Ace of Pentacles upright, 9 of Pentacles in reverse, 4 of Swords in reverse, and 8 of Swords upright. Give me 1 second to look at all these cards and make sure I have all the proper information. You're going to laugh when you hear about me talk about this section because I was asking some extra very important questions about what was going over here. And I just look at everything. Oh, interesting. I almost feel like these two are sort of a reflection with each other. But you know what? Let's go. So we have in this reading self-love, situation going on with a current romantic partner, and a situation going on with the potential to be with somebody else. So let's talk about all of it. So first, with your current self-love, self-care. So over here we have the Ace of Pentacles representing this idea of a new sort of belief system you had. I double checked. I said, is this anything to do with some sort of a career or whatever? My spirit guide says no. It is a new belief system you have hatched for yourself. And you should be very proud that you have it. It's not necessarily like a bad one, or not necessarily puts a weird ominous tone on what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to express is good on you for being like, this is how I want to interact with the world. This is what I stand for. This is what I want. How do I want to define myself, or how I want others to treat me going forward? That kind of mentality. Or maybe, in fact, how you interact with your business. Whatever it is a belief system. However, this is where the issue kind of comes up. As you see it as melting, my spirit guide describes the idea that you came up with this new concept, but you kind of weren't sure where to go next and how to build upon this beautiful it's almost like this sense of like an evolution was about to begin, but before the momentum could really take off, you really weren't sure, what path to go down, where to put your foot in front of the other, what question to ask next. You get what I'm saying. And the stagnation is now causing the first inspirational, like proud moment of being like, yeah, this is how I feel. It's starting to melt and lose its tangibility and doesn't mean as much as it did before. When you think of trying to build upon the idea with other ideas, it just doesn't seem to build up, it doesn't stick, and it's starting to lose that, as we talked about, lose that physicality. A great way of feeling this vibe is like one moment being like, yeah, I feel good about myself. You know what? I'm not going to be treated like this. And you have the inspiration. You definitely initially let people know, yep, this is how I want things to be. I feel good about myself. But because you don't ask more questions and say, how can I continue to be treated well? How can I continue to build off this confidence? Give it another week or two, somebody puts you down. In that moment, you don't feel as inspired to stand up for yourself, and sort of the cycle, I don't want to say an old cycle pops up, but you get what I'm saying here. You're sort of starting to enter in dangerous territory where you started with something so good, let's get it moving forward. The issue, and why this is important, we're going to go back to self-love and self-care, we haven't lost off this site, is this sort of stagnation and subconsciously feeling this, what was really inspiring, start to kind of fall apart. It almost feels like it hasn't completely fallen apart. It just feels like it's starting to. Is causing the feelings going on with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. This is an energy of feeling like you're looking outside of yourself and feeling sort of that things are unjust and unfair. Why does everyone else have this and I don't have that? You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's your exact dialogue and inner monologue, but it's the idea of looking outward, comparing it to your internal situation, and feeling as if things aren't working out for you. We talked about why, and that it starts to make you feel like everything's going a lot better for other people than maybe it really is. You know how sometimes we look at social media and we think people are all living these dream lives and we just kind of overthink the situation. That would be a good example of this sort of feeling. So the way you can practice self-love is getting this idea moving, evolving. There is no misstep. My spirit guide said something really interesting. It's going to sound a little haunting at first, but stick with me here. The idea behind it was, they said, sometimes when we take a step forward, it can be messy. It's not always, it can feel like a step forward and asking a right question almost feels like we made a misstep, and therefore can feel like we're moving backwards, but in fact, we are making the right decisions to open us up to then the next one and the next one and that next one. That does not necessarily mean the next question you ask in order to evolve this belief system or idea is going to be negative or bad, but if you are worried, if you choose and ask a question and then act on that new belief system that you're building up, like we went back to saying you're standing up for yourself, but one day you take it a little too far and you snap back a little bit too harshly and you don't really love how you presented yourself in that moment. That doesn't mean your world's falling apart and you made this huge mistake. You now understood by making a decision, you now understood, ooh, I better understand myself now. I want to be confident, but I don't want to take it out on others. Okay, I had to make that mistake to understand, sort of think of each movement, both one that makes you feel happy and one that maybe doesn't, as sort of putting another brick down at building a house and building a foundation. So that doesn't, again, mean you're going to take a step forward that will feel uncomfortable. Just know that if you're afraid of that being the case, understand you will still always technically be moving forward. And by evolving the idea, something beautiful, you are saying to yourself, I am worthy. I'm worthy of evolving. I have something great that's worth fostering. It is worth fostering. That's why we're talking about it. I don't need to look outward. I have something to offer inwardly. I am wise. I am special on the inside. And I'm just getting to understand that and know that by flexing and working off and building off of this already great concept. So remember that. Now going on, let's go to couples. Now you're going to laugh why I was asking questions over here. So my spirit guide said that this card specifically is representing the story of Oedipus. And If you know anything about that story, um, just to keep it like chill, let's just say things get messy with the parents. And I wanted to double make sure because they said that parents were involved in this particular scenario. And I just wanted to really make sure it wasn't in that direction. And they were like, no, 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 no. They just said that it's important to understand that this card is representing that story because it's talking about, see, the Nine of Swords represents this idea of like overwhelming emotions, anxiety, repeating thoughts over and over again. This feeling of like doom and gloom weighing you down, an impending sense of like, oh my goodness, these emotions, it's so much. I can't handle this stress and tension of the next moment. And with it, just simply evolving parents. Not in the way that the story is, I want to be clear, but that, and this is where it gets comforting, what is being said over here is that there seems to be some sort of concern around the parents. Maybe they are too involved in the relationship and it feels super frustrating. Maybe they're overbearing. Maybe you feel like they're influencing. Maybe you're worried in the long term how it's going to affect you or whatever. Here's the awesome news. We have a double confirmation going on here, both in the Nine of Swords in reverse and the High Priestess in reverse. This is the time you want to be told you're not looking at the situation correctly. Love this. When, and this is for my fellow tarot readers, when a Nine of Swords is in reverse, yes, it is still talking about those intense emotions we just spoke about. However, when it is in reverse, it implies that the situation is not, in fact, as bad as you think it is. Yes, again, always want to be clear, your emotions are extremely valid. But there are times when it's upright that it's like, yeah, you're stressed. That thing is worth being concerned about. In this case, everything's going to be okay. You're just scared for something that's not going to be fulfilled, which is beautiful. And then over here in the High Priestess in reverse, this is the idea that you're not seeing the situation correctly. You're really depending on these, again, when we talk about the High Priestess and with being the moon being involved and connected to that sort of gut-wrenching feeling. Right now, your emotions are telling yourself internally, this is how I feel, it's so strong, it must be true, my intuition hasn't steered me wrong before. Currently, it's not accurate in this position, and that's great. It's nothing to worry about. They're not going to be a problem or issue. They're going to get out of the way, and it's just going to be, just the two, it's going to be a much better situation from here on out, which is great. But it's understandable. You might be reacting to some things around you. Just understand that those things will peter out, and you can just really enjoy being free of this, which is great. And then over here for people who are single, these two concepts are so intertwined. I think it's really interesting. So with the Eight of, the reason why I say this is there's a reflective quality going on here. When we feel this way, it activates this, and it very much can represent also this. It's sort of, the best way I can explain it is we are the universe experiencing ourselves. It is not a coincidence when you kind of complain a lot and you feel really frustrated about a position you're in, that then you deal with frustrating events that follow. It's not, I don't want you to get in the mindset that you are attracting bad things. It's more the idea that the universe is trying to show in front of your face, whether it be an experience around you, or maybe you come home and you witness someone watching TV and the TV is not like whatever they're watching is not really a fun, doesn't make you feel too good looking at it, whatever is presented in that situation. It is the universe trying to show back to you, hey, I see you're feeling this way. I'm putting it in front of your face so that you can deal with it in order to then feel better and then put around you and have reflected back to a better environment. Because how else are we going to overcome these things if we're not self-aware? The universe is going to make us self-aware. In fact, just want to be clear, it's a co-creating thing, like you create it with the universe, so just want to be clear about that. Anyway, so the Eight of Swords and the Four of Swords in reverse. It appears that there is somebody, but they are unable to notice you at this point in time. They are just totally wrapped up in their own issues. and things and problems. And they just honestly don't really know you kind of exist or can give any sort of slight attention back. So you're just like, wow, I feel like I'm invisible. How can I get their attention? I just want them to notice me so badly. Is it personal? What do I do next? Why is it this way? Stop asking those questions. I know they're going through your head when we have a Four of Swords in reverse situation. This is the suggestion. Honestly, suggestion's a very light word I'm using here. It's a very strong recommendation that you need to chill out and take a break. Take a nap. You need to take a nap. You need to take a break. Because it has been long overdue, and this sort of card comes as a warning. If you do not take that break, the universe will make you take that break. And when they force you to make, or you kind of force yourself, again, that co-creating, it might not be in a way you would like. So let's turn it into our favor. So this is what's beautiful here. You are unable to see how you're sort of blocking yourself. We talk about the overexhaustion. Just as they are unable to see you because of their own sort of self-limiting beliefs. That's what Eight of Swords traditionally means. It talks about self-imposed limitations. This over here, you can take a break whenever you want, but you're choosing not to. Self-imposed limitations. So by taking a break, giving yourself, being like, you know what? Yeah, they're cute. I hope they come talk to me. I'm not going to think about them for a second. I'm just going to chill out. I'm going to relax. I need some sleep. I'm not thinking straight. You will naturally have reflected back to you someone overcoming their own situation, and then they will be able to see you. It's going to be so beautiful. You're both simultaneously giving yourself self-care and self-love and attracting somebody else. Who does not love that? So please let me know. And again, that's all you have to do is just chill out, and it sort of will work itself out, but it's understand that there is a sort of spiritual metaphor going on here. Not a coincidence. Anyway, so please let me know in the comments below, what is the belief system that you are going to evolve, and how are you going to take the next step to evolve it? It can be a type of question you're asking yourself, an action you take. I would love to know how you are going to see the value in yourself and perpetuate and build your own momentum that you already have, and realizing and taking it to that next step. I'd love to know in the comments below. Also, please consider giving this video a like and a subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It helps out like you would not believe. I am wishing you the best. I will see you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3, let's find out what's next in love by looking at the cards. We have 8 of Pentacles upright, 9 of Pentacles upright, the Devil card in reverse, 5 of Wands upright, the Hangman upright, and 3 of Pentacles in reverse. Give me one moment to look over everything in order to get all the information. Just give me 1 second. Okay, we've got a little bit of everything. I always love that. So first, let's start over here for people who are specifically single. And yes, this does include couples and also for self-love. We'll be going over everything. But first, for people who are looking for someone else. So I have a little bit of like clues and indications of what you're doing right and where the next person is popping up, I'm really happy to say. So 9 of Pentacles. This is actually a really awesome story. I think it's called like The Legend of the Watermelon. If anybody who's watching this is Vietnamese, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not super familiar with the story. I just know like the basic concept. And the basic concept is what we are working with here. So it appears that you have done a really good job right now. Both of these cards are a compliment to your own like personal well-being and what you're doing in your actual career. You're doing great. You're thriving. And this is all about how you have sort of built up something of value. This is a lot of like, it's very much the embodiment of how he's looking right now. He's so excited excited by what he's grown. He's cherishing it. He's looking at it. He's just so pumped about it. He's not concerned. He's like thinking, you know what? Maybe I'll send a watermelon up the river. I'll see who else is interested in what I've created. I'll send out little treats of what I have to offer other people. And I'll see what comes back, but right now I'm really happy with what I've cultivated for myself. So it's this idea of like, you've done a good job doing that, keep doing that. And you want to sort of send out these little waves to other people of like letting them know you're interested as well. Reaching out to them, sending them a note, giving them kind of a little wink to let them know you're interested. You're letting out these little messages of being like, hi, not to like, obviously every person you see, this is more of a situation of whenever the moment strikes you and you're vibing it, like put yourself out there, like give a little kind of hello, hey, I'm available, but you're not necessarily sitting there in anticipation of like who's going to answer, what's going to happen next. You're just so darn excited by who you are, the love you have for yourself, just enjoying life in general and proud of what you've accomplished. Keep up that energy, keep, wink, but don't really hang on or worry about if they don't come up to you after that. Don't even think about like, oh, well, next time. Just wink, forget about it, and go back to being like, this is great. I'm really just so happy and cherishing what I have right now. I'm just going to keep up this energy, and someone will eventually bite at the bait I'm putting out, so to speak. But we can get specific as to who will eventually bite and where that will come from with the Eight of Pentacles. So I want to point out something really interesting here with the Pentacles themselves and the number 5. So in the Akashic Records, 5 is a really cool number because it talks about this idea of almost like breaking free of the baseline needs into curiosity. It's like wisdom through curiosity. It's like everything you have has been fulfilled, and now you're starting to look outside of the box, look outside of the structure or place you live in, and start to say, is there something more? Could I potentially approach a situation from this? So what's so interesting about that is what my spirit guide says is that you will meet somebody. This is kind of complicated. How do I say this? Through work, but not in your workplace. So it wouldn't be a direct coworker. This would be like going with your fellow coworkers to the local coffee shop or whatever, and then from there you meet someone. So you'd still kind of like be at your job and in your job placement, but it wouldn't be someone you directly know. Again, you've got your workplace. Again, this is a compliment that you're doing a great job. This is like a side career reading we got going on here too. You're doing a great job in what you're doing and that energy, but you're ready to kind of find continued inspiration because you've found it in your workplace. Again, we talk about finding that inspiration within yourself, and you're looking for it outside of the place. I want you to be self-aware of what you've created and how that energy is now existing and taking tangible form and coming back to you. So that way, as you move forward in life, you can continue to understand how you interact with the universe, how you manifest, and how you can continue to attract what you want. You're essentially embodying something, creating this sense of like, ooh, I love what I do. I'm in the flow. I'm doing my thing. I'm joy. I'm proud of who I am. Letting people know, hey, I'm looking outside of the box. Anyone interested? And then outside of the box, and essentially this sort of evolutionary state of the next phase of both you and understanding the world around you, and also you receiving a partner, evolutionary out of your current social circle. So love that for you. What next? Here, self-care. So there can be a little bit of putting yourself down right now. I know we were complimenting how well you were doing at work, so maybe this is like an outside sort of hobby, or maybe there's just things are going great, but you do have your sort of, maybe you're being overly harsh on yourself and there's a certain aspect of your job you don't necessarily have locked down. The best way to explain the Three of Pentacles is this idea that it's something's not working out based on a lack of skills. You're just not properly blending with whatever you're interacting with project-wise due to a lack of skills. But again, this could be a hobby you're working on outside of your job. This could be just one small aspect. But again, I'm seeing that the entirety of it's going great. Either way, What I see going on here is something's not working out based on skills, but the way you can sort of relieve the pressure you're putting on yourself is being aware of what's going on in the hangman upright. This is all about the idea that right now is just not a good time. Therefore, it is not your fault or something you can necessarily control or anything you caused. It's just not the right time that anything's working out. That thing that you want to have come realized, again, we talk about the skill, is not happening because you're not skilled. It's just not the right time. But this is where the perfect timing comes in. Because it's not the right time and nothing's working out at the moment just because that's the way it would be anyways, now is a good time to build up an inner sense of confidence in yourself by building upon that skill and therefore being like, oh, I'm glad I got the extra, I do not mean to be redundant, time to improve this. But in the process, if you're thinking nothing's working out based on the lack of skill going on here, it's just a timing thing. It's actually working in your favor. So now you know that and you can use that. But yeah, just so you know everything. And then this is a way you can the way you would be presenting self-love here is by not being so hard on yourself, by understanding the greater scope of everything. But also sometimes we can love ourselves by realizing we are worthy and deserving enough of going the next level. It's not always about pampering ourselves. It's about saying, you know what, I'm worth going for pushing myself the extra mile to say, seeing what I'm capable of. I'm worth showing myself that I can do it and I can live up to it, and like kind of putting yourself in a position where you'd be proud of yourself. That's basically what you're going for. And now is the perfect, say it with me, time to do it. Now going on over here, this final one is for couples. Ooh, I'm being told, hold on a second. Oh, apparently this can be family associated. So I'm just going to put that out there too. So it's both. That's impromptu additional information from Spirit Guide. Love that. So apparently there has been a lot of friction and things haven't been too great essentially between you and this other person, whoever that may be, romantic, family, whatever. And here's the problem though. It is so appropriate that the Five of Wands is being paired with this card. Now, I'm happy to say it's in reverse and we have a happy ending to this, but this card is all about unhealthy, toxic habits that are not bettering you. They sort of trap you in a cycle. And that's what the Five of Wands is. Two people or a group of people, whatever, who have their different opposing concepts and opinions, and they just keep going at it, expressing themselves, but neither is willing to budge or compromise, and so nothing really gets done. I often find this card is paired with a situation where you just feel it's too enticing not to keep feeling like you need to get the last word. You can't help but keep engaging in it. You just can't help it. It's too enticing, like we talked about. Now, the reason why it's unhealthy, but I'm happy to say it will finally come to an end, is with an epiphany. Is the epiphany with the other person first or the person listening to this reading? Oh, it's a both thing. Is it both? Yeah, I'm getting a yes. Okay, good. So apparently you and this other person both separately have this epiphany, realizing it doesn't really matter at the end of the day who is saying what and what you're moving towards. The issue is that both of you aren't budging, and it's like nothing's getting done, and that's the main issue. And that's important to be aware of. It's not that your independent feelings and opinions don't matter. It's like realizing, wait a minute, we're not getting anywhere. This is not fun for anyone. Let's move past this. This is the real issue. We're not moving past this because of this overarching clashing of heads situation going on. We're done with this. And that's why I'm so happy to report you do have this card in reverse. This card implies that this not so healthy scenario going on is going to be coming to an end. And this card has a very permanent feeling. It's like realizing, okay, I see the problem. I'm done. I don't want this anymore. So expect things to be a lot smoother. Both of you did definitely, it's a very enlightened state of mind, which I absolutely love. And you're just going to really, you're just going to You're just gonna love how this will be a lot more comfortable and easier for you to get along with this other person, whoever they may be. So please let me know in the comments below, how are you feeling yourself? Or what are you currently working on? How are you going to kind of sort of take that pressure off yourself? I would love to know in the comments below. Anyway, please consider giving this video a like and a comment. Oh, I said comment. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out what's next in love by looking at the cards. We have 5 of Cups in reverse. Ooh, I'm already getting information. I'm just listening. Give me a moment. I know I was going to read the cards, but give me a moment to listen to what my spirit guide is saying, and then I will go over all of this. Oh. Okay, let's go. We got a bunch of situations going on here. Okay, so first let's talk about self-love, self-care. There is, the way my spirit guide puts it is, you are currently putting your life on hold. It's this sort of mentality of like, oh, well, I got to sort out this, I got to sort out that. But the reality is you are not over planning or over organizing in a way that's benefiting you. You're using it as an excuse to put your life on hold. Part of that hold, part of that lack of momentum is you're sort of waiting for this other person, whoever this may be. This could be someone specific in mind, or this could be the idea of someone to come and bring you love and affection. You're hoping to find it within yourself. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Initially, I thought, oh, is this the idea? Like you have to find it yourself to attract the person you need, find it first here and then they'll follow. No, interestingly enough, you need to not wait for this other person or finding love with another person to come approach you. You need to move on with your life. You need to realize you're past this planning and figuring out stage. Stop making excuses. If you want to, just to give an example, let's say you've been wanting to like be someone who goes for walks every day. Start going for walks every day. Stop it. It doesn't matter what pair of sneakers you have or the perfect weather. Just go. Go do the thing. Start moving forward. Start feeling like there's a sense of you moving to the next stage of whatever activities you're working on in your life, whatever that may be. You want to build up this sort of momentum that's going to catch up to this other person. Now keep in mind, it's not going to be catch up and immediate. They're going to turn your way and give you like love and affection. It's like, imagine you catch up to them and you're next to them side by side, horse next to horse, I guess you could say. And this other person will then you will be in their sort of periphery for them to turn around and go, hi, what are you doing? I'm having a good time going on adventures, having a good time hanging out with my horse with this beautiful romantic energy I'm ready to share with someone. You seem fun and exciting. Hello. So I'm feeling a very adventurous, fun spirit as you move forward in this direction. Interestingly enough, though, we have a bit of the past popping up, which I think is, well, not to be redundant, interesting. Because over here, we have someone popping up that you were previously with, who wants to kind of reach out to you. You really should consider hearing them out because apparently they did you wrong in some way, because we have a 5 of Cups scenario in reverse, which is great. It's a good thing. It implies that they will then be giving you some sort of closure that will help you finally relieve maybe questions you've had, what went wrong. Maybe they did you wrong, like we talked about, and this will just alleviate the emotional pain you felt that is still affecting you in current relationships. Whatever it may be, it is worth hearing them out. You can definitely say, it's not important that you talk to them in person. I want to be clear about this. You could definitely do it through text message, phone, whatever you feel is most comfortable, because it is this is a general reading and it's whatever you're most comfortable with, but just hear what they have to say, whatever's going to make you feel better. But I do want to give you a little bit of a sort of warning. There feels like this energy behind this my spirit guide's like shaking their head like, yep. There's this sort of like vibe behind the card, where it almost feels like after you gain the sense of relief, you're like, oh, I'm interested in them again. Maybe there's something here. Maybe they've changed. Here's the issue. You do what you want to do. We'll all love you still. But they are more interested in the person you used to be. And as my spirit guide put it, you've evolved beautifully. You are a different and new person. And you're worth receiving somebody who is going to match that new energy. You don't need this old energy. You went through it. This is you healing from that old energy. So consider that after you receive the sort of closure, that I would compare this very much similar to self-love, in order to help you to move on in the long term and other aspects of your life, there will be kind of a nice little vibe between the two of you, and you'll definitely have that curiosity of being like, oh, should I keep talking to them? Consider what the cards are saying. Just keep that in mind. It's to each their own, but just consider that in mind. And then over here for singles, it appears I know this is a bit of a short reading. I just looked at the time. Apologies about that, but hopefully it's still fulfilling. It appears an older woman who is, I can see over here in the Queen of Pentacles being reversed, who appears they're very much predominantly home. They'd be home a lot. I keep getting an image of like a house, like they're that person that doesn't really leave their house very often. And this older woman, is this like an, oh, let me ask my spirit guide, is this like an older woman? Yes. Okay, so this is a predominantly older woman, because sometimes, fun fact, if you're a tarot reader, not all the queens can sometimes represent older people. That doesn't always mean they are literally like, I'm trying to pick a respectful age. 70. We'll say 70. 70 is a wonderful age. 70. They could be 2 years older than you. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it's so relative depending on however old you are watching this. You know what I mean? So the point is, this would be someone considerably older than you by like a good 20, 30, potentially even 40 years. You're going to meet someone else through them. And a good way to identify if this is the person, in addition to them being an older woman at home, is they have a very fiery temperament, bit of a spitfire. And let me ask, are they mean? No, okay, no, they're just sassy. They've just got something to say, and they'll tell you what they think. So I love this. Very clear cuts, super straightforward to point, some things to consider with you got a lot of options going on here, it appears. So have fun. You have a bit of a gambit to choose from. So I'm excited for you. Please let me know in the comments below who you are particularly vibing. Who's the person you think you kind of want to more aim toward first. Anyways, please consider also giving this video a like, a subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.